Assalamu alaikum. I'm gonna start. Hi, my name is Miwa Asadi. I am Shizuoka Muslim Association Head Office Manager. SMA has been established since 2010, and I have been Vice President of the SMA for last 5 years. And this year, Alhamdulillah, I became the manager, because I wanted to take care of some administrative issues for the organization. And because my language is native language is Japanese, and then I also speak English, so I wanted to connect the Japanese society as well as the oral community. And excuse me, my voice today, a little bit dry. Today, I was planning to speak like 1 hour, but since we are a little bit run out of time, so I'm gonna make it short. And in this lecture, I like to hear actually your opinions more than my talk. I'm just gonna explain my experience and my perspectives, and if you can just throw your opinions, that'll be great, and then it creates a little more like a discussion here. And my first introduction, how did I become Muslim? Maybe that's something that you might be wondering about me. I became Muslim about 16 years ago. I was studying in the United States, in Oregon State. I went to the graduate school at the Portland State University. But before I entered this university, I was studying in a very small town of Oregon. It's called Corvallis. And I met many many international students coming from all over the world. And that was my first time to encounter the actual Muslims. And they are mostly from like Middle Eastern countries, but they are friends of mine. And I saw them talking about Allah, God, and religions, and talking about the prayers and stuff. And at that time, I was so away from idea of the religion. I actually never thought I wanted to become a person who has a faith. But somehow, Allah led me to this sister, Muslim sister from Egypt. She was Egyptian origin, but she was American. Allah made me meet her and interact with her. And her way of living was somehow very impressive to me. And I wanted to live like her. I wanted to have a living principle like hers. So I started asking her questions. How, you learn all these things. How did your parents do these things? And she was wearing hijab. So I asked her, why do you have to wear this? And all those questions. The way how she answered to my question was just wonderful. Never forced me, never questioned my way of living. And I was just naturally wanted to discover it myself, so I get on a computer, start doing the research online. Alhamdulillah, there were so many good articles written about Islam. So I studied and I learned, and I threw a question to her directly, and somehow I wanted to become Muslim without any question, because by knowing the world of Islam, I cannot go back to the previous me, after having the knowledge of Islam, the correct knowledge. I didn't want to go back to the way how I lived before. So after maybe about 6 months after I met her and studied Islam, I told her I want to become Muslim. Then I was thinking how I'm going to deal with my family, and how do I explain this to my family back home in Japan. But I just thought, okay, this is my decision. I just making a choice of my life that I want to become a better person, better human being. So I'm not doing anything bad to betray my parents. So I just decided to do it myself, and maybe I'll talk to my parents later, which actually I did. So I asked my friend, her name is May Muhammad, and then she arranged the witnesses for me, and I took Shahada in front of her. And Alhamdulillah, that was really a great moment, and I really owe her a lot for who I am today. So, and then after I became Muslim, the life really changed. I was struggling with my life before I became Muslim, but after I became Muslim, I was blessed with friends, the community, and more learning opportunity, and more very positive thinking. Whatever comes to me, whatever comes to my life is something that's from Allah, so I have to accept it. So no more useless struggling. I think you know what I'm talking about. So, and then long story short, I became Muslim, and a year later I met my husband in Portland, Alhamdulillah, and we get married. And then afterwards we decided to move back to Morocco for a while. And then after a while we decided to come to Japan about 10 years ago. This year's actually, it's been 10 years after we came back to Japan. So then my journey started again in this country again as a Japanese Muslim living in Japan. And at the beginning I was struggling how I continue my life as a Muslim here. No halal products, and how about the kids' education, kids' meals at school, all those anxiety I had in my mind. But Alhamdulillah, we just started our life. But as we went year by year, just things get easier and easier. We found a way to how to provide us halal meat and how to connect with the community, and that's what I like to share with you for my last 10 years experience. Yeah, 10 years ago, Shizuoka. First thing we did was to contact Shizuoka City, my international association that's owned by the Shizuoka, operated by Shizuoka City. I contacted them. Is there any Muslim organization here in Shizuoka or anyone that we can contact, or any place that like a musalla we can pray? But they had no information, no organization. But there's one email of the one person that we might be able to contact and ask about it. So my husband called the person, brother, and he said, is there any place that we can pray the Friday prayer? And then he told my husband that there's an address here that you can come on a Friday. So we both went there, and that was a very old apartment. And that's just an apartment, really, for the, my old apartment that's ready for that, prepared for the ryugakse. And when he knocked the door, he was shocked to see us coming to his apartment. He told him that we came here for the Friday prayer, but we were not able to pray that day because he was not expecting us to come over. So that was 10 years ago, Shizuoka. But Alhamdulillah, today, my husband and I and other great volunteers of Shizuoka Muslim Association here, we gathered at 2010 May. Why don't we establish this Muslim association for us? Because we had some Muslim populations here in Shizuoka, but they were gathering for like Indonesian group and the Bangladesh group, or maybe other ethnic group like other groups. And we were not united. We are even praying different prayers on the Eid day. So why don't we just make one for everybody? And that's the beginning. And Alhamdulillah, today we share the Eid, and we share the Friday prayers, and we share some family events like a picnic and a barbecue. And gradually, really, we start having all the mixed ethnic groups. Alhamdulillah, it's really wonderful feeling. And then we have a musalla that we started renting 3 years ago. So this year, May, was a 3 years anniversary. So, in the meantime, children are growing up. When we came to Japan, we only had one child, a baby boy, but now, Alhamdulillah, we have 4 children, 3 of them going to the shogakko. So now we are facing different issues than what we had 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we were just looking for the place to pray. But now we face how to deal with the Japanese school system. That's my family's most topic to discuss at this moment. School meals, the prayers, hijab, girls' clothing, and the fasting. Basic practicing of these Muslim kids at school. This is from the undokai, so we are eating obento. But I understand most of the Muslim children in Japan, they take their bentos from home instead of eating kyushoku. So, and I know that each family has a different style of dealing with the kyushoku. I think that's fine. But what I realized from communicating with the school teachers, the best tool is how to communicate with them, how to introduce Islam to them when they have no idea about what the Islam is, what Muslims are, who we are. And then if we just say, can I pray? Can you make the room for my kids? Prayer room, this is a must, we have to do it, and you have to change your kyushoku for us because it's important for us. You know, it's like if you force your way in a strong manner, they feel like, oh, wait, you know. So I think the Japanese are very understanding people about religion. They do not have a strong opposition to bring that religious practice to school. But, you know, this is really different from school to school because the teacher's idea, especially the school principal's idea, has a strong effect on the practicing of that school. So even in Shizuoka, my kids' school has very open-minded and flexible idea about our kids doing fasting and prayer and stuff. But other school, they are just like, no, I'm sorry, no bento, sometimes no change of, no style of the taisogi, no different style of taisogi, you have to wear certain clothes and stuff. So I feel very frustrated by hearing that, because it's the same public school and from the same city and different, conduct because of the different the principal. So this is something that actually the Shizuoka City, like a Kyoiku Inkai, should know, and they should know how to, deal with, treat the Muslim children about these issues. So inshallah, that's something we SMA like to work together to talk to them and deliver the information correctly and what they need to, those Kyoiku Inkai should talk to the teachers and principals at school how to deal with the Muslim children properly. But what we can do as an individual family or you as a student is really you have a power of influence to the person you actually contact directly. That's something I will talk about it one slide later. But as my example, I'm a mother, but at the same time I like to be a little bit proactive to get out of my community. I went to the Kakegawa city this year. There's a high school class. They study the world history and the geography. There are about 70 students here. The teacher, Shakaika no sensei, contacted me to my homepage. He asked me to talk about Islam, to deliver the correct information about Islam to the students. So I was happy going there to have like a 90 minutes talk in front of them, introducing the world of Islam. And I talked about the hijab and the prayer and those what's our teaching about the terrorism. Alhamdulillah, their idea before the class about Islam was completely Islam is scary. They have something to do with the terrorism. I don't quite understand these people. They're quite foreigners from us. But after this class, they wrote what they thought about Islam after my lecture. 感想文を書きました。素晴らしい。本当に Alhamdulillah, I don't know the power of the education is so strong. They're saying that now they know the Muslims are the people of the peace. The teaching of Islam is all about the peace and the endurance and also the forgiveness. Because I told them about especially the fasting, why we fast, and we all know that. But they have no idea about it. So I went through the very short, in a short time I quickly went through the 5 pillars of Islam and other the topics about the hijab and stuff. So at least these 70 students now know about what's the real teaching of Islam. And what's amazing was when I did it, after I did it, actually I did the other teaching in the Shogakko in December, last year December. Next day, that incident in Paris, the attack in Paris, the bombing happened. So that the Shogakusei, 120 Shogakusei in that school already learn about Islam, that we completely deny the terrorism whatsoever, no murdering whatsoever. So those 120 students, Shogakusei, will understand the action of ISIS has nothing to do with the teaching of Islam. So when they grow up, when they encounter the Muslims in the future, at high school or daigaku or in shakaijin, notably, I hope they will have a good starting point to communicate with us. And when they become a teacher, they will have a good understanding to teach the next generation. So I think that talking to the, especially the young generation, will have great effect even in the future, and to be a good friend of our next generations. And this is actually what can you do as an individuals when you go back to your community. You know, you have, mashallah, good intelligence, good friends, and good organization around you. So please think about the power of your influences. Your family, sports, of course, but you know, at school, shogakko, PTA, you know, please go out, you know, whenever you can, whenever you have a chance, please go out and just be present over there, you know, and have a chat with the mothers around. That's dawah, that's great influence, because mothers around me, I'm sure they'll think about me wearing hijab, she's just strange, you know. If I don't talk anything, you have to be quiet, they're just gonna think whatever wanna think about me. But if I start talking and just you know, do the little mother chat, oh, my kids do this, and it just gives me a hard time. Oh, they know this person has the same issue like as a mother, and we became friends. And we go out and cleaning project. Yes, I do cleaning, and you do this. That's how you create the bonds and you know, understanding. And I have been doing that for the last 5 years, and I feel great that they have no prejudice about Islam. At least they know me, so they're not gonna, you know, think I'm a terrorist or I'm a oppressed person, you know. So they know me and my husband both. So something like that. And you as a father and you know, a student or a teacher, and who interact with the Japanese people, you know, it might be a little bit shy to talk about Islam, but alhamdulillah, these days we have great brochures written in Japanese like this. This is, it's called Islamgaku. I know some of you already have these brochures, but these are the brochures we Muslims can use to communicate with the Japanese, written in Japanese. But because sometimes it's difficult to talk about the religion and Islam in Japanese language, but maybe you just can give it to your friend or mother when you have a good chance to do that. Sorry, my fault. So I often use these things when I have a chance. Yeah, and alhamdulillah, I work as a company that I established 3 years ago. It's called iSolutions. This company basically delivers the information of Islam to Japanese businesses who wants to welcome the Muslim customers, who wants to provide the halal, Muslim-friendly like meals at restaurants. I know that business-oriented people, but that might be the first, you know, entrance for them to tell them about Islam. Because I always tell them, if you want to do these kind of things, you have to learn and have good knowledge about Islam. So you will have good communication with your customers and serve the correct services and products. Through that, I am open the door for the business people first, but nowadays I receive the contacts from the high schools and shogakusei because of that. So I'm often being exposed to the newspaper and the media I felt very shy at the beginning by doing that, but at the same time, being Japanese, being able to speak Japanese in native language, and then become a Muslim, I thought that's my mission, to keep talking about it, keep delivering the information to the Japanese people. Because Japanese has a right to learn about Islam correctly. They just don't know. They are not exposed to the information correctly. So, brothers and sisters, we are here together for 3 days. We learn a lot of information knowledge. It's time for you to give it back to your community. And I'm sure you will do the great job. And next year, I don't know where you're going to be gathering, but please, succeed this good spirit of learning and giving out your feedback to the others and share with others. And today, my speech is going to finish here, and I'd like to have a little bit of opinions. I'd like to hear the opinions and discussions for how long? 10 minutes? Do I have time? 10 minutes? Okay. Okay, now the question to your opinion. Anyone's opinion, please.
I'm really sorry, I introduced all the speakers except my wife, so I would like to introduce her one more time. MashaAllah, this conference, without her, it wouldn't happen. You know, the hotels, dealing with the food, dealing with renting the conference room. So really, let's give her a big round of applause.